Hey everybody, it's Bus Builds Decks number 11, playing some Balatro. And so, this is going to be our revenge run, right? We played our previous video, we were going through the black stake on the yellow deck, and we got right to the very end. In our next to last battle, we got like 800k chips on a single hand, and then as we got into the final boss battle on ante number 8, only needed 180k chips and fell short. It was brutal. We sold the wrong Joker card, completely messed up our strategy, and fell way short at the end. It was pretty brutal, and so we're hoping to get a little bit of revenge here, continue on with the yellow stake, but move or yellow deck, but move up from the black stake. So let's jump on in, kick off a new run, see what we can do. So what are these? We got two jokers. I'm definitely not opposed to double skipping on the first blind. We got a polychrome joker into a foil joker, which is fine. We're on the gold deck, so we have a ton of money. Let's just double skip and try and get amped up right from the beginning here. All right, the manacle. Let's see what you got. So I typically just shoot for flushes on the first couple of rounds, so we've got the makings of an ace-high heart flush. Let's just take a peek at that and see what turns up. No more hearts, womp. Keep discarding. Oh, we're up to 4 of them now. I don't think this flush is quite good enough. You typically need a few face cards in here to get up to 600, but it's a good enough start. We should be able to play this and then just drop a few pairs and get out of the round. What do we got? Pair of 5s building up to a club flush, sure thing. Give me them 40 chips. We're not going to get there, are we? There we go. That's going to make it a lot easier. That's definitely it with the, I don't know, like 47 points out of hand into the flush. Did it. All right. Let's see what jokers turn up now. Gonna be some real hot garbage. I can already feel it. That's what happens. That's what happens when you try and do a revenge run. But we've got 20 some gold. Should be more than enough to purchase either of these. The even cards with polychrome is fine, and then every card played scores bonus chips. Very nice one to pick up at the very beginning of the game. So we're gonna snack on both of these. Leaves us with 6 gold. We should probably just stack on that going into these upcoming rounds. And so we'll definitely try and level up this hiker throughout the remainder of the game. It does do that stuff to where it, you know, kind of builds towards just like durdling around. You have to kind of make the decision if you want to give up your gold to upgrade your cards, but we'll see how that comes about. So with this, I think we'll play the small blind. I'm not interested in upgrading Strike Flush. We'll probably skip and get the rare Joker, and then base chips and malt are halved is not that big of a deal. We have pretty good Jokers to fight through these. I don't think we're going to have any struggle here at level 2. And so could kick it off with a straight. What is this? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I think I'm okay with this. It does let us hang on to 3 hearts in hand. And so, oh, we could have just played the flush. Shit. I didn't even realize we had the flush available there. Let's see how this goes. Might just be enough on its own to not even worry about. Yeah. It matters a little bit, I guess, in terms of the hiker putting the bonus stats onto the cards that we play, but is what it is. I'm definitely not at the point where I want to just be like playing a high card to get a +4 chip on a card. I definitely want to get the money at this stage of the game. So interesting option here in the oops all 6s. You get to increase the probability of your cards, and I typically don't like this one, but as we are only on ante 2, it gives us a lot of opportunity to come in and start just trying to drop a bunch of lucky cards and everything and see how high we can roll with that. Not entirely opposed to it. Like, this is the kind of time to pick up things like this, right? You don't want to pick up oops all 6s when it's like ante number 7. We don't currently have any build around for it though. I don't think we want the runner either. We already have like chip scaling in the hiker. I don't feel like we need two chip scales. And so, all probabilities. You know what? Fuck it. YOLO, am I right? see, let's see what we can do. So let's see what's turned up here. We got a flush right out the gates. Might be enough to just end it. Probably not. It's probably like a 800 chip hand, but it is nice to get some of these upgrades as we cruise through the battles. 15 hundy. Now, I think we probably want to come in and just like upgrade some of these bigger point cards here. So let's just discard some of these small fries. See if we can't get up to, you know, like a big 2-pair, an ace high straight or something. Just the cards that we look to continue to have throughout the remainder of the game. I'm gonna hang on to the 4 just if we need to try and play a heart flush. What do we hit? We could do ace 2-pair. I'm not certain what's better in the grand scheme of things. I'm just going to go ahead and play the flush since we know that, that's easily enough to finish the round. And it hits 3 face cards, right? It's only 1 less high point card than going for some kind of 2-pair play. I don't think that's going to make a monumental difference at this stage. We let life coach tell us. You just sit around and calculate. I never watched Life Coach play Slay the Spire. I'm not certain how commonly known he is in the vernacular of gaming anymore. He was a professional poker player, made a bunch of money, and then just picked up Hearthstone. Right? I think that his thing was like he had so much money he could just do whatever he wanted, and so he just started playing Hearthstone and was fantastically good at it, easily in like the top 5, top 10 players of the world, if not the actual just best player in the world. And his big thing was they called him Rope Coach, right? Because he would take literally all of the time that he had, every single action, to just think about literally every single thing that he could do. And that he always had that question of, to like, if he got to design his own card, what would it be? And it would be like anti-Nozdormu, right? Nozdormu was the card that made it so you only had like 7 seconds to play your turn, and his was to like just make it so you had 5 minutes to play your turn, and then he just have infinite time to think about everything. But I do know that he switched to playing Slay the Spire for a while. He was doing the thing to where people were trying to beat the Ascensions 1 to 20 straight through. So you beat Ascension 1, Ascension 2, Ascension 3, Ascension 4, Ascension 5. And so it's challenging enough for anyone to just beat Ascension 20, but to beat the entirety of the game straight through is quite the accomplishment to do. I assume that if he set his mind to it, he probably did it. But I didn't follow too much Slay the Spire to really know if he ever pulled it off. Nonetheless, what do we have going on here? We got a Eternal 4 of a kind thing. So X4 malt if the hand contains 4 of a kind. I mean, that's a thing. That's something to build towards. It's so hard to get into the space of building 4 of a kinds without spectral packs, right? So if you have the spectral pack that changes your entire hand into the same rank, then you know, oh boy, I have, you know, like 13 7s in my deck. I can build towards 4 of a kind 7s. Or if you have like the DNA card, then you can build towards it that way. But we don't have anything like that, right? And we would need a lot of things to fall our way to get this going. And if it wasn't Eternal, I would be a little bit more interested in it, right? We have this Joker space. If we get to turn, you know, ante 6, we have nothing lining up towards this 4 of a kind. We could just sell it. But being stuck with it does leave me a little bit worried. This other one, all cards are considered face cards. We could do something with it. I do like that it has the foil chips attached to it, but I think here I'm just going to take this buffoon pack and try and manage our income just a little bit, not fall too low, but still get the Joker going. Here, not excited about either of these. What do you call? Not even list the name on here. the spray bottle, whatever it's called, does tie in kind of nicely with the Oops All Sixes. We don't currently have any combos with it though, right? We don't have any like lucky cards within our deck, and so we'll have to see what we could do in that sense. But with these coming up, should be a fairly safe round. We'll battle against the small blind to where it adds the voucher. We're going to skip the negative tag on the Joker. That's one we definitely want to pull up, and then all clubs are debuffed. Shouldn't be too much of a negative here. All right, so what do we got? We do have this 3 of a kind 8s in hand, and we also have 4 hearts in hand. let's just build towards the hearts. Like, that seems like the only thing we've really kind of tied this run into doing, is we've upgraded a handful of these hearts forever, however meaningful that will be. Right, the hiker has upgraded a handful of these. We've got, oh, that seltzer does work with the hiker. That was not intended. I guess we are turbocharging up these hearts at this point. Oh, and this works for the next 9 hands. I thought that this only worked for like the next 9 triggers. Okay, that's a little bit more respect than I was giving it in the past. So what do we got here? I think if we're kind of on track to building towards flushes, we don't care about something like splash. And then plus 15 mult when 0 discards are remaining. That is the way I typically attack a lot of these games, is we just spend all of our discards right from the start, but I think I want to just ramp up the gold. Let's take the negative joker. Now all clubs are debuffed. Sure. But yeah, let's go hearts. Start spending those discards, seeing who we can find. I wonder how deep we ended up going with that seltzer, right? It's something that we would kind of like to have in the final round of the game. That is a fairly powerful ability now that I see it actually come out and pop off, but it's not how it's going to work. But here, a bit awkward. Oh, that's what a hand was, just the physically played hand. Gotcha. Okay. It was somewhere in the middle of my understanding of what that did. So the round is the entire battle. The hand is just the physical scoring thing that we put on the board. Gotcha. These hearts doing the work, though. Very nice combo with the hiker. I dig it. I like what's happening there. Oof. Alright, so who goes negative? We're definitely going to take this odd Todd. So we have the odd bonus and the even bonus all at the same time. Sure, it's essentially free to just have those, so we'll go ahead and take it. The 4 of a kind builder rounds really turning up in this run, huh? We got the Mad Joker with the X4 multiplier we passed on. The magic trick I don't like. This always just tends to weaken up the collection of cards we can get out of the middle, and so we'll skip it. Not opposed to taking Arcana packs at this point, but we're getting pretty close to 25. I feel like I really want to start getting that max interest if we can. Alright, so we can give a copy of the next tag, double tag, not bad. Create 2 common jokers not interested in, and then cards drawn face down after each hand played for the boss. We can manage that as well. Let's just go ahead and pick up the double tag. I still haven't fully navigated how the double tag actually works, but you know, we'll get something going with it. So what do we got here? I was hoping to build towards this spade flush. It doesn't quite feel like it'll be enough to finish off the round on its own, but we were nowhere near hitting a heart flush, and we were pretty close to hitting this one. $8700. Okay. Now I would like to actually hit the heart flush if we can. We're kind of far away from it though, with just the 2 in hand. Fine. I think the way that this stuff works though is if we end up converting, right? If we switch, say, these clubs to hearts, and then they have the bonus from the hiker, they still maintain that bonus, and so I don't think we're missing out on too much there. But now we have to play a physical hand, upgrade that king, I guess. Sucks to be wasting the seltzer, but we missed out on our flush. Yeah, this is really growing on me. I every time I saw a seltzer, I was like, yeah, this card's just garbage. You know, it's not worth the 8 gold or whatever just to have it go away after like 2 hands, but this has been nice. How much juice you got left in you? 4 more hands? Alright. We might want to look to... It seems like we've been getting through these rounds fairly okay. We haven't been, like, crushing, but we haven't been struggling. I'm curious if we can't navigate this to where we at least have one activation against the boss blind on the next round. But here, we'll take this X3 multiplier if the hand has already been played. It's fairly strong. It does give us something nice to build towards. It typically works better if you're playing like pairs, 3 of a kinds, full house kind of things, since if you play a flush, the cards that you play don't really build towards the other hands. I'm not entirely certain how to explain that one, but if you're say building towards 2 pair, the way that you discard your cards lends to having more 2 pairs. Is like you find yourself in the situation to where, you know, you have your 8 cards in hand, but you only hang on to your face cards, and here's your hand is kind of like ace, king, queen, queen, jack, jack, 10, and then 3 discards. It just cycles much better to where the stuff you have remaining in your hand builds toward other 2 pairs, to where flushes it doesn't quite manifest that way. Now, we don't have anything that really forces us into playing flushes. We want to kind of keep that in mind with this guy as we move forward, but they don't play out as nicely as you would want, right? And so it's like, as you look at a hand like this, if you're playing towards flushes, we have like 3 clubs, right? So if we want to play towards clubs, we're just discarding all of the non-club cards. But then it's kind of like the things that we backdoor into don't make a lot of hands that we're trying to make. To where if we're discarding like this, we discard the 8 to deuce, and then say we pick up an ace and a jack and a 10 or something, then like the jack worked. We can play the 2 pair king, king, jack, jack, and then like with the hands that come back up, we're ready to just kind of play some of those high cards again. So it just seems to work out better that way to me. I think we could look towards that here to a degree. That's tough. Let's just, like, we've already got the 3 of a kind king, but then are we really gonna play any more 3 of a kinds after this? And then the other kind of awkward part towards playing face card hands is we get bonuses for odd cards and we get bonuses for even cards. We don't get bonuses for face cards. And so I think I am just going to try and push towards these clubs real quick. What do we got? Ooh, we have the 5. Okay, well that at least worked out kind of nicely. Now, I think that kind of spiel that we just went on, as you get into the late game, it may not apply nearly as much, right? In the sense that 25% of your deck is clubs at this point, but as you get to the end, if you have your deck like 60%, 70% clubs, then you are back in that space to where it's not as crazy to be, not as crazy to be hitting the same flush twice. All right, but here, I was trying to get a little info on which hearts we had access to. We know this one face-down card left has to be a heart based on the sort. And this should be enough to end the round. Our hearts were pretty good here. That's one of the earlier things that we were upgrading with the seltzer. Right, easy peasy. And so yeah, it's getting interesting with the seltzer. We're going to be up against that idea that I had earlier. We've got 2 hands of the seltzer left, and we're kind of heavily incentivized to just fully skip into the next boss so that we get to use those there. So we'll see how this plays out. Red card I don't want. We haven't opened up enough packs. We're not going to open up enough packs to make it useful. 4 gold at the round end. I'm fine with this if we're like early game, but I like to be able to sell all of our economy cards in like Ante 7 and Ante 8 and really just be built in on scoring points. And with that being Eternal, I'm not really interested in it. So I'm going to skip this round. We'll at least start getting that maximum that maximum interest now. Now, interesting, we have the double tag, so if we skip the holographic tag, we'll get double of the +10 multiplier. I'm kind of okay with that. And then we get gold out of the handy. This looks like a pretty reasonable run to just skip everything. I like it. then we can do a lot of activities. Once we get out of this boss round, we can sell the seltzer that's not going to be good anymore. We can pick up a bunch of jokers off of these holographic tags, see if we can't really hone in what we're trying to do. All right, let's see if we can't get ourselves out of here. I'm going to play this full house. I'm going to do it with the 4s full of 5s, because the 4s are a little bit better with the even Steven, picking up the malt. The big thing that we learned in our last run was we did have the high X multiplier at the end, and we sold off our our plus malt bonuses. And so the place where we started to struggle was the flat multiplier scales with the X multiplier, but the chips don't really scale with anything else, and we struggled in that sense, being able to score up the big points. All right, but how do we want to do this? We can, like, we have the pair of kings. Like, I'm saying, like, what if we just take a discard here and try and make another full house? I think that's reasonable. Maybe we shouldn't have gotten rid of the 10s. The 10s make a good one, but we backdoored into the jacks full of kings. Getting the X3 multiplier on this should be pretty good, but we don't have anything giving even Steven bonuses here. Alright, only 4,500. That was not particularly good, especially considering that we need to be playing more full houses to try and activate the card sharp. And so we at least found one. You know, it's another one. It doesn't play well to our theme, right? We need to be playing lower value cards so we get the bonus chips and the bonus multiplier. We just don't have that here, and so we are going to be a little bit limited in terms of our ability to hit these smaller full houses. It's because we only have one discard left. And so, I mean, I think we're really just kind of rolling the dice, right? Well, there's two options with this. I'm leaning towards just digging for the full house. Like, that's where we're going to get the multiplier. I think we have to do it. But I could see an argument for just trying to play one of these smaller hands. Just to get the guaranteed activations. But like, if we don't get an 8 or a 7, we're just going to lose. And then we, of course, nailed it. we got that 8 in there. I think that should be enough now. We aren't getting the big, seltzer multipliers, but we will get the plus 12 malt off of the 8s, and then that will get X3'd and hopefully be enough to give us that 15k. Barely. Oof. Okay. It was a little greasy getting to the end, but hopefully now we can cycle in some upgrades that are really going to carry us home, right? Getting these holographic bonuses and everything. 100 chips if you play a straight. I mean, well, first and foremost, let's get rid of these things that just aren't doing it. Seltzer just goes away. We didn't get a chance to sell it. That's kind of awkward. But do we want to go towards straights? That would give us this kind of like final build around capability to where we're just trying to make small straights over and over again. Like, and so we would want to cut all of the big face cards out of our deck. I'm not like amped about like the 100 chip bonus. It's just like we're already getting so much bonus chips out of the hiker and out of the odd Todd that it just doesn't feel like we really need it. We do have 2 Joker slots open though, and we're getting close to the end. All right, fine. Let's see. Let's take this Arcana pack. We got plenty going on here. We'll take a roll after this as well. We'll try and see if we can't get ourselves built into that just kind of smaller deck thing. Jesus, we haven't even played an Arcana. I haven't even played Arcana at this point. It's wild. So we can enhance 2 to malt. I think that's the way to go. I guess instead of having in our head that we're playing towards straights, we could be playing towards straight flushes. And so that would have given us a little bit of reason to skip over some of this stuff, but it's okay. Now this one, 13 malt for each queen in hand. I think we have to skip that. Like, I can make arguments for taking the devious joker to play towards the straights and have the malt there. Just this queen thing is against everything that our jokers are trying to do. And so I think that is unfortunately a skip here. But I do want to pick up one more joker if we can. So let's take a little bit of a roll. What's this one? Joker, Tarot, Planet, and Spectral cards may appear multiple times. That doesn't help us win. Suck. Alright, well, next round it is, I guess. So what do we got here? Next joker is Polychrome. I do like that, giving us the scaling multiplier. Rerolling the boss blind, I don't think we need to do. All face cards are drawn face down, right? If we're just going to discard all of our face cards, that doesn't do anything anyways. So let's see if we can't get through this big blind and really be tied home for what we're trying to do. So close to a wheel. I think we'll keep the 3, 4, 5. I guess we'll hang on to the 7. So if we hit a 6, we'll have a straight to 7. Drawing to straights always feels so brutal. It just does not feel like something I like doing. There's the wheel, ace 2, 3, 4, 5. Move the malt ace down to the end. It's flat, shouldn't be a big deal here, but ooh, I don't know, man. just playing towards straights just feels so much different than playing towards flushes. I feel like they ought to be, you know, fairly similar, at least in terms of probability, but they feel so far apart in terms of they feel so far apart in terms of like the actual execution. All right, what do we got in here? So we missed our straights. We do have a flush available that plays a lot of smaller cards. Okay. I don't know. This does not feel like a winner. I'm not certain where this has gone wrong. So at least we are activated on the card sharp now. So if we play a straight or a flush, it's going to get that X3 attached to it. We're close to both. I think we're just kind of stuck playing this 9 high straight, like 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Yeah, I was trying to see if we can't kind of like hold on to some of the flush cards just in case, right? We do have 4 diamonds in hand, but we're not going to get away from that. 9, 8. All right, it says straight. We have kind of the makings of a straight left over. I think this should be a pretty easy 28k once all the bonuses roll in. We get the X3 on the card sharp. 32 out of there. One hand left to get us to the end. Alright, who's our polychrome? 80 chips if the hand contains a flush. Okay. It's at least sellable if we don't really want that anymore, but it at least gives us that, you know, that last little bit of direction we can kind of hope for. So let's start spending some dollars. Let's convert left or right is fine. Create planet cards is mad. Double money, not quite what we need. I'm always a little bit like uncertain as to how I want these to go, in the sense that like switching the 2 to ace is like the highest value play that we can do, but it just hampers our ability to make ace high straights, right? We can't make wheels without 2s, and so it's like the next end is like the 10 is the next kind of space to look to just get rid of. If we're not going to get rid of low, then we have to get rid of high, but like 10 high straights are one of the better things that we can be doing, and so like we're just going to have to make a decision. I guess, well, I mean, we can do this, right? We can just switch the king to ace. We should just be trying to get rid of our face cards first and foremost. I guess that makes sense. Convert left or right. We want to convert the king, though. I guess that's the ample way to think about it. We'll try and do whatever we can to get the face cards out of our deck. All right, let's pick up the standard pack. The cards in our deck are pretty bad, and so I don't want to just add in do nothings, but man, I don't know. This does not feel good. So what are we looking at here? I mean, what if? It's like I flip-flopped on this so many times, but it's just like, what if we just look to build towards flushes, and then if we hit a straight flush, then that's kind of okay, right? So if we get rid of a hand like this, hang on to the diamonds. I don't know. It's such a pain point to not know what we're actually trying to build towards here. All right, flushes it is. We'll just try and flush. We are nowhere near. At least hit here. So it's like our expectations for our first flush are fairly low, but the second one are where it's really going to start kicking in. I think we're still kind of building our deck in the right direction, though, in the sense that I just want to take the face cards out of the deck. It's just that we haven't really done anything in terms of building towards straights or flushes. It's just okay. I think we're okay though. Let's see. Let's just get this some kind of this face down card is a face card. It's not going to do anything here. It's going to count towards our high card, but we need to hit the heart flush, so we're just going to play through everything. Oh man, we're already sorted by suit. That's a potential disaster. We just have to go for it though. We have to hope that this face card that we've highlighted here is a heart. It's sorted to where it kind of fits. Shouldn't be a diamond because those are the right. It shouldn't be a spade since it would have to be the two of spades, and the two of spades would be the next one over. I'm not certain how anything else would fit in there. All right. Thankfully, it was the Queen of Hearts. I guess there's a reasonable chance that this other face down is a heart as well. Oof, we got out of that round. I was not expecting that. I've been mentally preparing myself for this run to just be over. We just keep on sneaking through the rounds though. All right, so what do we got here? +1 malt for hand played, -1 for the discards of meh. Money cards we can't really deal with at this point. We got to start spending some of this money though. We're not doing anything to win. So what do we got? Create planet cards, not excited about. We can't convert to clubs or convert to spades. Like clubs would be the good convert. We're really balanced in here, but we've picked up a couple of these malt aces. So who do we want to go though, right? We're just going to ignore the face cards. We want those out of the deck. I just want to pick a suit and run with it. So maybe we want to just do all of the hearts, the clubs. Okay. It's something. It's a strategy. It may not be a good one, but it is at least a strategy. So kings don't want malt 2 of diamonds. It's just not the direction I really want this to go. I'm gonna skip over that. Let's take a roll. Don't think we can build towards the diamonds, right? The things that we have in hand, the negative card never goes. The hiker can go at some point. Like the flat +50 chips isn't really what the hiker is about. The hiker is about the scaling chips. But I don't feel like Greedy Joker is a good replacement for it just yet. Eternal can't go. We have the Flush Joker, and then we have the Evens, which I've been happy with both of these, especially with the polychrome attached to them. I think we just skip here. Right, what's left? Another polychrome? I'm on board. And then the Mega Arcana pack's not that big of a deal. Okay, so we'll take the polychrome. Start squeezing them cheeks again as we try and hit 84k. It just does not feel on the table. All right, so got to get into the rhythm of what we can play here. It's like clubs are the most common and what we want to be hitting, but we only have one club in hand at the moment. So I think this is probably the way to go. We would like to, it's like I don't like building towards two separate hands, but just get rid of the two. Picked up, we did that and then picked up absolutely no hearts. Man. I'm gonna hang on to the clubs. I think that's the way that we have to go about this. Oh, this is just a fucking disaster. We're gonna have to hit so well after the first hand that we play. All right, so here's our first flush out of discards. At least it is an all numeric flush, so it gets a lot of bonus multipliers attached to it. The downside being is it's not an X3 flush, and so ugh, fucking brutal. So now it's like we've got to hit the flush somewhere. The spades are what I think we have to go towards. So we'll just play this crappy ace high and just hope. Just doing a lot of hoping and dreaming here. It's like we only got 5 spades left in the deck. Is that right? We've got 24 cards left and only 5 of them spades. It's not a particularly good chance to hit. So weird, the number of clubs that we have remaining in there. Just like every red card is such a fucking dead draw. Oh, I think we're stuck playing this pair. If we're gonna be real, like the 50 points we get out of this pair aren't that big of a deal, but brutal. Still not certain where this went wrong. It felt like we scaled so well and things were going so right in the mid game, and now we've just completely whiffed on the flush again. Yeah, see, like I don't know with this one. Like I felt like we had a good mid game and we had reasonable direction. It's tough for me to tell if this final hand was just like an absolute low roll to where like maybe the first discard was wrong and we should have just been discarding towards clubs anyways. But it was a tough point there as to where we could never like piece something together to where it's like, all right, we look at our hand, we have 3 of a suit, that's the one we want to build to, but it's also the least common one in our deck. We try to cycle to it, we completely whiff, and then we decide to switch into just the more common one in our deck, but then we completely whiff, and then we completely whiff again. Like, it's tough having it come together like that, and I'm not like mathematically certain if that was just like a low roll right at the very end to where everything just went wrong. Like, I envision in my head that we should be able to like discard 3 times, play a flush, pick up a new hand, discard another one, play a flush, then just play like a meaningless kind of ace high hand, and then finish up with a 3rd flush. Like, that doesn't strike me as an unreasonable expectation of what you're going to be able to do here. And then in the terms of just like high rolling on that hand, it's like you just discard once and play a flush, you discard once and play another flush, you discard twice and play the 3rd flush, and you're just kind of like off to the races and going. But when it's in that kind of space as to where the numbers are so odd, and that we either have to decide, do we want to dig towards like the 3-card flush and dig towards our least common one, or do we want to hang on to this like singular club, which is the most common one in our deck, when we're in this space of just not wanting to half-ass it, right? We don't want to like shuffle and then end up with a hand to where we have 4 spades and 4 clubs and we can't play either flush and we have to pick something to discard, because then it just kind of ends up worthless at that point. And so like, I think the kind of discard path there was okay. It's just so savage to start with like 1 of your most common, discard, go up to 2 of your most common, and then just have to discard everything else to go back to that 2 set of clubs. And so it was pretty painful in there. But in terms of the deck building along the way, I like how a lot of it went. I felt like we built up the hiker well. It seems like I'm trying to think if we got into like Joker trouble early, in the sense that we weren't really collecting money until like the later stages of the round. I don't think we had that full 5 interest until like round 6. And so we were never in that spot to where it's just like, I'm just going to churn through a bunch of money through like Arcana packs, and I'm going to churn through money for just like deck upgrades, because our deck was not upgraded whatsoever. We had a handful of malts, and we only played the one tarot card to convert to clubs, and we didn't really have anything to help edit our deck. And so we might have gotten ourselves into a space to where we just didn't play enough rounds, and instead of skipping so much, like taking the double tag to skip, maybe we like over skipped throughout the battle, which is something that helps upgrade the hiker as well, right? We want to play more rounds with the hiker so we can upgrade the chip value of the cards that you have in your deck. And so I think that that's where things went wrong, more so than like blaming it on a low roll on the final boss. I think that we probably took a bad skip strategy throughout the course of the battle, and we didn't manage our money well enough. And so like having 1 or 2 of these good polychrome jokers would have been nice. Maybe that's the problem. We were investing into the like foil jokers and not the polychrome, right? You really want negative, you really want polychrome. That's the 1.5 multiplier. You don't as much want the foil one, the chip one, and that's the one that we had a bunch of. And so I think that that's where it went wrong. Like, would have been okay to grab one. Like grabbing that hiker was pretty good, but I think we let our economy get out of hand, taking those jokers that weren't very high value. Like the 50 chip joker is extremely good on round 2. It is not very impressive on round 7. And so I think that that's where we really kind of fell apart. Ooh, nonetheless, good game, good learning experience. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that's going to do it for us today. So hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bustin' Me. Thank you for being here.